The elixir of knowledge. Cheers. Jesus drank wine, so why can't I? Makes sense, right? It's a little intoxicating, but people see wine as a little more classier than beer, alcohol, spirits, all that shit. So I was making this podcast because I wanted, not this podcast, this video. I do make podcasts, but this video is about how to not give a fuck. Because people have a hard time not giving a fuck. There's even a book on it tells you how to not give a fuck. And it surprises me because you don't need to read a book in order how to not give a fuck. Why do you want to read a book on how to not give a fuck when the real application for that is to do it in real life, not give a fuck? So here is my technique. Well, let me give you my background. So for me, the way, because I used to give a fuck, I get it. And it's not this, it's not the elixir of knowledge. It can help, but it can be very destructive. So it's not this, it's not based on this. For me, the way I learned how to not give a fuck is I had an ego death. And that is like, for me, it happened after high school. I went to college, everything changed. I tried mind altering substances like marijuana, alcohol, what was known as ecstasy, because ecstasy you can't really get nowadays. This, but now it's known as MDMA, but it's not the same thing. But mushrooms too. But the point is that I tried all these mind altering substances, and in my experience, well, what happened was that I did have an ego death. I had an ego death, which, if you are not familiar with that, it is when everything that you know about yourself is crumbled and just like who you thought you were, you realize it was a lie. It was a lie, strangely, right? And it's really hard to explain, but I'm using the words that I can, my vocabulary, in order to describe the experience. Because anything that I'll say can't really pinpoint it unless you've had it to an extent. But I'll do my best. So I was not recording, but now I'm recording. Okay, so for the ego death, I'm not sure how it happened, but eventually, oh, cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is when you have two ideas that are competing and they're both true in your mind, but when they come together, they can't be true. So you have to pick one or the other. But you choose to lie yourself about which one is true, which one's false, and you choose to say, oh, like even though they're competing and they don't make sense when they're both true. Like if you're saying that, like the fact is, I'm alone in this room, but let's say I would say that someone's here with me. You know, that's not a really good argument. Hold on. I'm trying to find an argument to make this more sense because. Okay, so there was the thing with the dress, right? Was it blue? Was it gold? Let's say I believe both. It is blue. When I talked to someone and they said it's blue, and I agree with them. Yeah, it's blue. Then I talked to another person and they said it's gold. Oh yeah, it's gold. It's gold. So it's like, so I'm only giving in to people's perception because you're a giving person, right? So if you think the dress is blue when you're with a certain person and it's gold when you're with another person, then you have cognitive dissonance. That's what I had. So eventually, everyone suffers from this to a degree. I could still say I suffer from it, but I try to catch it when I can. Uh, I want to point it out. I want to point out all my flaws because I want to be efficient, be the best person that I can be. So, going back to the ego death. It's not for the faint of heart. I remember when I had it, I thought I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy because it's an identity crisis, and you're just like, who are you? If that's not who you were, then who are you? So you have to build yourself back up from base. And it's not like you completely lose your identity. I'm still who I used to be, but with the ego death, it's like you're more you than you were before, and you still have attributes from before. Like I still like doing music. I still am sympathetic, empathetic. So like I haven't lost any of my any of my positive traits, but the negative traits I have lost for the most part. Still working through all the other issues, right? So going back, the ego death, yeah, it's not for the faint heart. It's not easy to go through, but I'm so glad that it happened because it's made me the person I am right now. And you really have to rebuild yourself from the bottom up. And that's, so hard because, like, I mean, even the way that I talk, I'm like, how did I talk? Like, how do you know? Like I really had to, like, trust that the way you say things is you. Because you really have to build yourself from scratch, from the way you treat people, to your voice, to everything. So you just question everything, and it's really tough. But I had the ego death, and I'm a way better person now. Not perfect, but I'm aware. I'm aware of myself. I'm aware of myself to the degree that I don't think that anyone, well, maybe someone can catch me off guard about my behaviors, but I'm willing to accept it. And one of the biggest fears is that people are afraid of themselves. And I get it, because we think we're this holier than thou person. But in reality, we're just a bunch of bitches, So we have to work that out. I'm not to where I want to be, but, I wish I could use less of this. But it's getting there. And so, going to the main point. How to not give a fuck. Just don't. That's it. There really is no secret to it. You just don't give a fuck. You thought I was going to give like this magical, read this, and you just don't give a fuck. That's it. So you just don't. It's like, how do you walk? Just walk. Move your legs, dude. How do you not give a fuck? Just don't. I don't understand how there's a book on how not to give a fuck. It's like, you just do it. Just don't give a fuck. Just don't give a fuck. Stop. I like the character, Larry David's character in fucking, what is it called? Curb Your Enthusiasm. Because he just does not give a fuck, so. It has its consequences, right? Of course, but you deal with the consequences of not giving a fuck. You just deal with it. Just man up. Man up. Just don't give a fuck. Yeah. So, yeah, there's no secret to it. And in order to make this video look like it's really informational, I'm just going to fuck around and go online and, because, if you're learning how to not give a fuck, you at least want a 10-minute video. And I think I have, 5 or 2 minutes in, depending how I edit it. So I'm just going to, browse the internet and see what's up. That's it. Yeah, and the only reason I'm continuing to talk now is so I can make the video longer and make it seem like I'm giving, step 1, step 2, step 3. No, fuck that. You just don't give a fuck. That's it. Just stop giving a fuck. And there's a book written about it. Okay, let's see. Nardwuar versus Lil Wayne. I like music. Lil Wayne's cool. Let's see. Oh, there's a Travis, but Travis Scott. But there's a AI version of Travis Scott, and it's called Travis Bot. I'll play a little bit of it. I don't want to play the rest because I don't want to be sued. Yeah, you know how that goes. Yeah, so that's it. Hopefully this video is long enough so it makes it look like I'm giving insightful advice. I am, but at the same time, just don't give a fuck.